What's up, guys? I am in the beautiful Pacific Palisades here in California. One of my favorite things right there, a lacrosse net. And you guys, this is our 15-year anniversary vlog. And we decided to celebrate, if you saw last week's YouTube short, in the form of our first ever series, #AskPaul. All right, I'm really not used to holding this camera this way. I'm gonna pass it over to Brett. Brett's with us.
Let's go.
And I have brand new lacrosse sticks, strung by yours truly, Riley Martin. Woo. This is a limited edition Rabil 2 head, gold label. And this is a throwback, chromed Evo. Before we get into your questions, which you guys submitted a lot in the comments section, as well as emailing us. Brett, what's the email?
AskPaul@PremierLacrosseLeague.com.
Keep sending those questions, AskPaul@PremierLacrosseLeague.com, and we'll answer them either in a full-fledged vlog like this or on YouTube Shorts. But before we get going, I wanted to talk about why this channel started in the first place. So 15 years ago, I was right out of school trying to figure out what it meant to be a professional lacrosse player. Through that, I was drafted by the Boston Cannons in the MLL, and I had a lot of time on my hands, and I saw this emerging platform called YouTube with an opportunity to engage with my younger self. Each of you, the young kids out there who are looking to become great at this game and really just create a forum. Some of you might remember my first website was called Rabil's Army. Anyway, that didn't last long for me. However, it was through Rabil's Army that we launched our first #AskPaul, where I looked like a 13-year-old in my basement, taping a stick and speaking to you guys in a way that was very unentertaining. What's going on there, everyone? We're gonna shoot some questions at you. I've been looking at a bunch of them.
If you were one of the original ones who saw that video, can you comment?
I haven't taken a shot with this thing yet.
Not bad.
Pretty nice. Thank you, Riley. More evolution to #AskPaul. I started working with Colin and Samir and the Lacrosse Network. They said, hey, let's make this thing more fun and engaging.
And today, I'm doing rapid fire.
So they advised me on creating a set, a weekly cadence. They would send me questions and they would edit the content that I shot first on my GoPro, and then I bought my first DSLR. That's like this. There you go. I used to have that, Brett.
Yeah?
That was mine. I gave it to you. Then, hold on, one more shot. Let's see how hot this thing can get. Then,
I'm sure you see that car back there, right?
Right. Okay, well, anyway. Then came Bradley Calder. You guys remember Brad? How about Pat and Brad?
Hey Brad, you want to ask Paul a question? Yes. Paul, is Ask Paul really back?
Pat and Brad had an awesome segment on TLN. Bradley Calder, who's doing amazing things right now in the music industry, was my first primary editor. Well, I should say he was my second. I gotta give my shout out to Colin Rosenblum. 5 weeks together, it's over. Brad started adding a little comedy and flair to my boringness.
So Brad, here's a joke for you. I went downstairs and asked the desk attendant which room I was in. What do you think she said, Brad? She said, sir, you're in the lobby.
And then it evolved even further. That's when I brought on this man right here.
That's when I brought on B-Rob.
yeah.
B-Rob came in as a high schooler.
2018.
And he canceled Ask Paul. That was the first thing he did. He canceled the series.
This is not gonna happen
It's
anymore.
not gonna happen anymore. And then we did our daily vlogs, which
right.
were even crazier and
That's true.
potentially worse.
Depends how you
Dangerous.
look at it.
Look at that cradle.
I've been on the Rabil tour a couple times. I picked up a tip or two.
Speaking of the 15 years that we have panned lacrosse players around the world, this right here came from my boy Charles Balsamo, who plays at Duke University. Fantastic player. Charles came to Project 9 for 2 years. Watch out for Charles. I'm gonna see him in the PLL one day, and then he's gonna be running a major fashion house. 3 for 3, Brett. Shall we answer 3 questions?
Let's do it.
Okay, first question is gonna come from William Gibson, 6112. Thank you for the note, William. He said, as a 7th grader playing up to 10th in one league and 12th in another, what checks or moves help the most as I'm a long stick defender? So we're starting with an LSM. I'll say this, man. The best defenders I've gone against actually close space. So you can have all the checks in the world, but if you're this far away from B-Rob who's dodging, he has the advantage. And then number 2, a check that I learned is pretty simple. It's 2 parts. Cross check, check down.
Oh.
That's what you do, cross check, check down.
Ow.
And so what happens is, if a guy's dodging down the alley and you're running with him, if you cross check him down by his hip to get him to the sideline, what happens is you react that way. So, cross check, check down. Best check you can do. Number 2 comes from Mr. Lax 26. So do you think the PLL will grow out to girls? It's also an unexpected second question. I got a long stick midfielder, then I get a question on women's professional lacrosse. Look, if some of you guys watched the championship series this year, you saw our first Unleashed All-Star game, where we hosted everyone from Charlotte North to Dana Dobie. The game was spectacular.
And Charlotte North taking advantage behind the back.
And I love the sixes format. I can't wait for it to be in the Olympics. There might be a question in there whether or not I'm gonna play.
Uh-oh.
I think we continue to build the women's professional game in that format at our championship series. More to come. Okay, last one for this segment. All Broken to You says, expansion for the PLL? Would a 10-team league be better than to expand to 9? Here's the thing. We've got 8 awesome clubs right now that have been assigned to 8 amazing home markets. We have homecoming weekends that have announced, which means each home team has a double header. That means one team has a bye every week during the regular season. Then we've developed conferences. Our playoffs are now, instead of 7 teams get in, only 6. Implications and pressure is growing. When we think about expansion, you have to look at the game weekend differently. More teams have byes, or potentially you do 2 game weekends at different parts of the country. 8 is a nice sweet spot. It's created incredible competition. However, we will be expanding. It's just a matter of when.
Ooh. I have a question. How do you do that?
A lot of hours out in your backyard, working on poise, creativity, fluidity, hand-eye coordination. This thing's an extension of your body. I view it as a third arm. Okay. All right, we're back. You asked the next round.
Okay. Not Dan Nexel. What's your go-to stick and head build?
Go-to stick and head build right now, we have this STX Alliance 2D and a Rabil 2. Black on black, Dark Knight days, for those of you that remember. Mid to high pocket, loose shooters, 2 across, 2 nylons. Special. I like to tape my butt end nice and fat, and then depending on the handle or the day, I take my tape about 6 inches or 10 inches up. That's my package, baby, and it leads to stuff like this.
It was a good spot.
That's my package, baby, and leads to stuff like this.
Quandale Vince, what's the hardest part of bringing your game to the next level?
Quandale, what's up, man? I would say there's 2 things. Your physicality and stick work, and then your mindset. At the next level, you'll find the difference between someone's athleticism and their opponent, the difference between their stick work and their opponent gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So then it becomes about how much you want it, how much you are putting into your preparation, your focus, your game day routine, and your ability to respond from not playing the way that you had envisioned. I think that's a big difference when I talk to young kids now that are thinking about the pressure, the nerves for games, how to respond when they make a bad decision. That is the key. Being present, focusing on rebounding, getting after it.
Let's go. There's no way this is this guy's real name, but it's Bossman Q Richard Boys 1341.
Boss man, let's go.
Will the PLL open the league to non-North American players and possibly recruit from Europe or Asia?
Great question. The league is open for business right now. One of the reasons why we go to Japan is not only celebrate the growth of lacrosse, but keep our scouting eyes on the Japanese talent that might one day play in the PLL. Once there was a Japanese goalie in ML. He played for the Denver Outlaws. So we want to get the first to play in the PLL. But we've already been there in year 1. Callum Robinson, captain for the Australian national team from Australia, came over to the US, played in Stevenson, went back to Australia, came over, played in MLL, back to Australia, came over to play in the PLL. Callum is a great fucking teammate, one of my favorite people in the game. Little target practice. Riley's got this thing nice. Haven't had... Ooh.
You got me there.
Gotcha.
Top right.
Top right.
Ooh. Well, that was dead top right.
That works.
Let's go bottom left.
Bottom left.
Top left.
Top left.
Ooh.
That was humming. Try top left again.
5 hole.
5 hole with the yellow ball.
Nice.
We're answering as many questions as we can in these 2 segments, one on the field, and then I'm taking you guys back to the office to answer your emails.
All right, Barn Box Lax. Paul, would you partner with another company to make a Rabil 3 head?
Ooh, barn box. I like that. I've looked at it with my brother doing a Rabil 3. Our focus is on the PLL right now, but I really do love this head. And when it was selling with Warrior, it was the #1 head on the market, largely because we were chemists. I took the Brine Clutch, we took the Evo, we took the Viper, we took all of these heads that I've used in my past and tried to blend them into one. So it has the maximum pinch, the maximum offset, a really strong sidewall that keeps the head from warping.
B-Brag 13. I'm an attackman. What stick do you recommend?
I think it's the Gardener, not the hose, that makes this thing happen. But I would look for an offset head. The reason why I like offset heads, it gives you a better handle of the ball. You can feel it in your cradle more, you can control it more in the quickness of your release, you can generate a little bit more power. So I like having an offset. An onset head means the thing just goes straight from here. So you get more pocket depth without being illegal.
Ooh.
This is a high school spec, so I know if you're playing up through college or the pros, you can use this. The difference in the head specs change legality-wise, so be mindful of that. On the handle, I like having some curvature. I like having a little grip. So you have a little graphite here, can handle it better. But ultimately, you can have a fantastic shaft, you can have a fantastic head, and you can have a really shitty string job. So don't let that happen, because that'll spoil the whole thing. We got time for one more?
Tom Gruss says, are you still vegan?
Ooh, I'm not, Tom, and I'll tell you why. If you remember, I went vegan in the first place to try to help with all the back pain I had. I had protruding discs in my L4, L5, L5, S1. It helped limit my sciatica pain and my range of motion, and then I slowly got back into consuming meat. And I was testing it to see if it impacted me. It didn't. So I was vegan for about 2 years. Then I started slowly incorporating grass-fed, grass-top steak. I no longer eat chicken in my diet, and my primary source of protein is still tofu. Woo. I'm gonna go all top left.
All top left.
Is that a nervous laugh?
Yeah.
There we go. Oh. Last one. Whew. Don't worry, Brett. Okay. Gonna keep the shout outs going. For those of you that are gonna be with us this summer and into next fall, our Rabil Overnighters, expect a new logo coming up and some more exciting news around how we're building the event, making it more fun, creating some new things to do. I haven't told Brett yet.
Even more fun?
Even more fun.
I thought that was impossible.
Rabil Overnight. Okay, Polar 9942. I like that for a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
Polar, I like the cold. 99, my favorite number. 42, what my brother wore
Wow.
playing lacrosse in high school.
Do you think this is Big Al?
Might be Big Al. What was your favorite team to play on MLL and PLL? Also, happy 15th anniversary. This kid's now my favorite. Or dad.
Let's go through Dad.
My favorite team to play for in MLL, it's a hard one. I would say that New York Lizards team in 2015. And the reason why, I so loved playing for the Cannons, and I finished my career with the Cannons, but I was traded off, I had broken my foot, and we had lost a world championship game against Canada, all in 2014. Ugh, it was horrible. So I started from scratch with the New York Lizards, a fantastic group of players, a great coach in Joe Spallina, and we started the season 8-0, went on to win the MLL championship.
The Lizards are MLL champions. The long wait on Long Island is over.
Redemption.
Let's go.
PLL, I'll go with that last team, that last season, the final year, the Boston Cannons, playing alongside one of my favorite defenders and most tough defenders to go against, Brody Merrill, and then one of my favorite people in the world, Lyle Thompson. Those two with me and the rest of the cast, which were spectacular. We had such an awesome time. We had fun, we played hard, we won some games, we lost some tight ones. I'll always remember that team. Favorite pregame song. This one comes from Heather McRae, Maloney, 2598. My favorite pregame song, Explosions in the Sky. I like dipping into some of my favorite movies' soundtracks. Going all the way back to college, I would listen to System of a Down and Rage Against the Machine. One more? Or should I shoot? I think I should shoot.
Okay.
Okay, this one comes from user SH2EL9EF1I. Hey, I'm a 7th grader on my team and I play attack. I'm not the best at lacrosse, so I want to know how long you would practice or mess around with your stick. When you started playing, I want to get better, and you have made me want to. Thank you for all you have done for the lacrosse community. User means a lot. Thank you for sending this question. So here's what I would do from a practice standpoint. Every single day, 100 shots on net. Every single day. I would get against the wall. This thing is the most important piece of equipment in your life. 100 shots a day, stick work on your athleticism, which means agility ladders, 300s, lifting weights, and then focus on your sleep and nutrition. It is a year-round experiment. You can't be good at 1 or 2. You have to be good at all 4 and 5. You know what I always liked?
What's that?
The idea of being able to score like that. So what if, I could dodge behind my back, or if you're defending me, I could fake dodge, keep it here.
Oh, man.
Fake.
Oh.
Also, user, before I forget, one of my favorite drills to do is that point and release drill. You've probably seen it on this YouTube channel. Setting the balls right up at the island, 5 and 5, feet positioned, and you're just working on that far target. Try to maintain your balance. Here, here. Woo. Hundreds of those. All right, start close, then move out. Okay, Lax Fogo says, what club did you play as a kid? So I didn't play club lacrosse. I grew up playing town and rec. I played for MVSA, Montgomery Village Sports Association, from 6th through 8th grade. Then I went to Watkins Mill, my local public high school, my 9th grade year. Then 10th through 12th, I transferred over and played at DeMatha Catholic High School. I will say, my junior year in high school, I joined the Baltimore Crabs and played in Vail for one tournament. Ryan McClaren, thanks for having me. I enjoyed that experience. Whew, Vail, gorgeous time. You know what else is gorgeous? Lake Placid. Loved playing there. I played in there at Johns Hopkins in college. And then I played Ocean City once after I graduated and finished my season with the Boston Cannons. What's your code?
99.99.
Okay, Miguel Cabrera 9263 said, if you didn't go to Hopkins, which college would you have gone to and why? So here were the choices. I was looking at Duke, North Carolina, Virginia, Hopkins, Maryland. John Desco at Syracuse called me. I was outside playing lacrosse. My mom took the voicemail, said he'll be back in. Can he call you back? I called him back. They didn't answer. Never heard from Cuse again.
Damn.
Yeah, he's a one call. If you don't answer, we're moving on type of guy. When it came down to those 5, I visited them. I looked at scholarship offers. I looked at the team fit, who the leaders were. Most importantly, what the freshman class was, because I knew they would be sophomores when I was a freshman and we would have a nice bond. And Hopkins was just the best fit for me. Now, had it not been Hopkins, probably North Carolina. My dad went there. All right, Maximum Mac, 22-3. Hey, Paul, freshman JV midfielder in high school here. I've got good stick skills, I'd say. I'd say you do too. But I've been struggling with aggression and getting past bigger dudes on offense. Any tips on how I can get my mind past that? Thanks, I'm a big fan. Appreciate you, man. Look, there's 2 parts to it. There is the challenge of playing against a bigger defender who's aggressive, and then there's the headspace that you were talking about. Confidence comes from your preparation. So the more you prepare each week, and that includes scouting your opponents, the more confident you will be in a game. The other area where confidence comes is the idea that you can move past not just bad plays or mistakes, but good plays and efforts, right? They're both on either side of the pendulum, and your confidence is best when it's not slanted. So to keep the mindset of next play is most important means you have to let go of the good plays as much as the bad plays. Confidence twofold. The other thing is, when you're going against aggressive, bigger defenders, some nice ways to beat them is by being slick off ball, right? If you are an on-ball only player, and take it from me, who spent most of my career on ball only, defenders can scheme against you better. They can be aggressive, they can come out at you. If you're someone who's willing to pull a string and backdoor, or set a pick for your teammate, then cut, then pop out and get the ball, advantage you. Adam Cordner, 5742. Tips for 44-plus-year-old beginners. Also, how to create space on attack. So, tips for a 44-year-old and a 4-year-old. Got to get a ball and a stick. Get against the wall. Try to find a net. Take some shots. It takes time, all right? One of the reasons why lacrosse trends behind participation in soccer and basketball is that that's just a ball in hand, a hoop around every court in the country, like that, accessible. And soccer, you have nets, you have one ball and you kick it. Lacrosse is like hockey, it's like golf, it's like baseball. It requires hand-eye coordination. That means it's more difficult to play. So it takes more time. So be patient, but work every day. There are some amazing adult leagues out there, and I think the most important thing is have fun. All right, Brett, before we head in to answer the rest of the questions, it's been lovely out here with you. One far side, one short side. Here we go.
Ooh! You're on today.
Check it out. It's hot.
Oh boy, oh God.
Brett, thank you for the coffee.
You're welcome.
We're off to the office. Come on in.
You changed your shirt.
I showered.
Nice.
What do you think of these?
These are sweet.
Yeah. Here we are. We have this amazing Jack Johnson sticks, one of my favorites. And we have a bunch of other ones over there. Shout out to Zach. Mike's not in today, as we can see. And so we're going to pick up exactly where we left off, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. So we have got emails from each of you that wrote me at AskPaul
At PremierLacrosse.com.
Bingo. First one is Levi Blasher. Levi said, are you ever going to play in the PLL again? Part 2, are you making a Rabil 3 head? So in reverse order, we talked about the Rabil 3 or potential, i.e. open for biz earlier. Now I'll say this about the PLL again. Minute I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Who's that?
You're not the Godfather guy, huh?
No, I'm not.
I thought I was out. They pulled me back in.
Okay, next up is Timothy Keefe. He said, where do you see the future of lacrosse after college? As it stands, it's kind of hard to have a pickup game of lacrosse. We'll find an adult league at your local gym. Maybe there could be less physical version for adult leagues. Just a thought. I'd love to play casually. Dude, great question. I think about this quite a bit. Here are some thoughts. Number 1, Lake Placid, Vail, Ocean City. We just partnered with Lake Placid Classic. It's a fantastic tournament. It's my favorite, both in college and after college. That's an opportunity to play competitively, but I know you're asking casually. Number 2, we have yet to announce it, but in May, we're doing our second open run for street lacrosse in New York City.
Wait, is that breaking news?
Street lacrosse, the vision behind that was to roll out a product and capture it in a form of casual play that involves just sticks and tennis balls. Our hope isn't to like jurisdict wherever street lacrosse is or this version of the game. It's just to encourage more people to play it, and I think we're seeing that. We're seeing more people play it casually. So I do think the ball type, to your last point, is something that leadership needs to continue to evaluate. It's the only ball in team sports that hasn't been adjusted over the last 100 years. Basketball, you have different size balls. Soccer, you have different size balls. And let's be honest, this fucking thing is really hard.
Yeah.
You know? And like, who else is out there when you're playing with someone for the first time and you're like, here you go. So I don't want to throw.
What is this? Whips goal 1. First ever Whips goal. That's sick.
Yeah. I don't know what's in my office. However, what I worry about is throwing a ball at someone, then missing it, breaking their orbital, or reacting just the way you did.
I was scared because it's a hard ball, and if you don't catch it, it hurts.
Here we go.
Oh gosh, what's this one? Third game, first goal. By you?
No, I played my first game pretty well. Here we are. All that said, the only thing that's stopping us from playing casually with friends is us. Sebi Bucheri writes, so as a 6th grader, kids are starting or about to hit puberty, yet I'm still way smaller and 55 pounds. Being a small kid, I struggle with confidence a lot on the field and off the field. How do you think I can build up confidence? So, similar question that we had earlier around size related to confidence. What I'll say about this point around kids being different sizes, especially in 6th grade, is I am also calling on leadership, governing bodies and leagues that are working with the next generation of player is to take into account not only size, not only skill, but also age. It is incumbent on the leaders to say, right, we've got 25 guys on this team. Half of them should be playing on this group, the other half over here. Some people that are younger might have already grown and should be playing up, but the thing that I love about lacrosse though, is that size doesn't matter. Sure, if you're bigger, you can potentially get more weight into a shot and ward off a defender. But you also don't have the same endurance of someone who's running with half your weight or as close to the ground and level of gravity to be able to turn on a dime or to be able to tuck and roll. So, you know, whether it's Jordan Wolf or Michael Sowers, 2 of the greatest attackmen of the last 10 years, you know, those guys aren't worried about height and size. They've been kicking everyone's ass since they were in middle school. Jed Ballantyne said, what was the road journey like to become a co-founder of the PLL, and do you have any tips to help me improve as a D-pole? I'm going to teach you guys one check here.
Oh, no.
Right, the check is basically...
Oh, my God. Oh, Woody.
We're seeing a lot of overheads. What I like is the rusty gate.
Oh.
So if you're running transition up the box and you have an opportunity to throw a forehand check, know that that is very available.
Oh, God.
Sorry, that was harder than it was intended.
It's okay, man.
That's how it looks.
Hartzell's nasty at those.
Out against Hartzell.
Oh, the rusty gate. That was beautiful.
What was the road journey like to become? So look, the journey continues, I would say, on the PLL. It has been extraordinarily difficult to get here and will continue to be fantastically difficult to get to where we want to go, which is a top 5 sports league in North America. But we think we can do it in half the amount of time that MLS and UFC did, because they didn't start in a new media, new technology environment like we did. So we can access audience, build new relationships. We think our touring model was an accelerator as well. If you haven't seen the arduousness of building the league, check out Fate of a Sport on Hulu and ESPN Plus. Your man Brett here was the lead cinematographer.
You were the star.
Brody Megan. Okay, this is the last email that came through, and then we'll jump to a few more YouTube short questions. Brody wrote, how should I take the path of trying to go D1? Great question. So, consistency and hard work. The message that was shared to me when I was 14 was, if you shoot 100 shots a day, you'll get a Division I scholarship to the college of your choice. Very definitive in that response. I took that to heart, and no matter what, the conditions, the holiday, before game, after game, I shot 100 shots a day. That repetition, that consistency requires a lot of hard work and elevates you beyond anyone else. And it might seem obvious, it's also really, really fucking hard. So if you commit to that, I guarantee you that will be your path to playing Division I lacrosse. Shall we? Okay, so we're getting close to crunch time here. There's a lot of stuff in the office that I'm thinking about. It's percolating. We got my final season Cannons jerseys over there. We got this amazing Jack Johnson handcrafted stick. We've got some helmets up there. We have a Washington Commanders jacket.
That's kind of
champion jacket. A Tiffany & Co. book that
That's
has
actually
PLL in
sick.
it. What's super sick? Oh, we've got a Rabil 2 gold edition.
That seems fitting.
Old school box. Do you remember this?
Not really.
I did this back in 2016, I think, when we launched the Rabil 2 head. We then did a couple hundred limited edition gold series, and in it,
Oh boy. Wait, that's what you were using today?
that's what I was using today.
No way.
I autographed all these balls, and it came with a piece of mesh. Pretty tight.
Is the mesh white or is that? It looks gold.
18 karat gold.
So this is like a $20,000 box.
This is also 18 karat. I signed it with an 18 karat Sharpie. Maybe this one.
Would you actually give this away?
Look behind you, Brett.
Oh. I feel like this has to be it because you shot with the head
This is
today.
pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah.
15-year, 18 karat gold giveaway. Don't even need to sign it because I already did 8 years ago. All right, okay, so with this in mind, let us round this thing out. And for those of you that are still watching, I assume it's because you're hoping your question gets answered.
Or
Otherwise,
you wanted to figure out what the giveaway was.
yeah, which you're being rewarded for your endurance, which, is a message around playing at the next level. Here we are. We're going to round this thing out. Found via skiing. Dad, please come back to the PLL. Thank you, son.
I wonder who his dad was.
Sounds like Troy Ray. He calls me dad. All right, Corbin 14. If you could relive one day in your pro lacrosse career, what day would it be and why? See, one of the most important games in my career was losing the national championship to Syracuse my senior year. It was so goddamn painful, but it set a fire under me as a rookie in MLL to just change the game. Had we beaten Syracuse, I still would have had a fire, but I would have had 3 championships and maybe not. You just never know. Same thing in 2014 when we lost to Canada in the gold medal game in Denver. I was fucking gutted. The following year, I got traded to New York and we won an MLL championship. That is the path. That's the journey. That's the road. So relive, I kind of view it not as change, but to just experience it again. Probably day 1, June 1st, 2019, PLL, Atlas Redwoods at Gillette. It's a really emotional game and first one that we pulled off together. Or the last one in Utah against Atlas with the Cannons in the playoffs.
Both great games.
Lost both games, so maybe, if we relive it, we would have won one. Okay, JN Junior 88. Sounds like Jared Newman. Would you rather eat 15 minutes before a lacrosse game or not eat for 5 hours after the game?
It's Jared Newman for sure.
Here's the deal, Jared. I would rather eat 15 minutes before a game, just a little bit, so it doesn't disrupt my play. It's so important to eat after workouts or after games So what we do when we go to the gym is we actually tear our muscles. They're micro tears. And responding from that requires immediate protein. Those enzymes come in and they repair your muscles and repair them stronger. So after a game, you're fully depleted. The worst thing you can do is not sleep, not hydrate, not eat. So make sure you're eating after games. 3 more.
Three more.
Luke Bass, 2001. What has the PLL done this offseason to improve the watching experience for viewers? So if you guys watched our championship series, you saw 2 things. We have what's called a jib, which is this huge crane on the sideline, and it hangs a gimbal and this HD camera that like travels above the players, sort of functions like a sky cam with more control.
And the Cannons are just different with him and Cage, starting and playing the whole game.
Knowlting.
That's cool and should be coming this summer. The second is we started getting our handheld camera on the field during the run of play. And the way we scoped it was we sat with Matt Palin and his crew, which by the way, are on the field during the run of play, and they have zones that they stand in or move around based on where the ball is. So we lined up where those zones were with our handheld camera operator, and we got them there.
I liked both of them.
What was your favorite?
I think the guy on the field, because it was an angle that you've never really seen before.
Yeah. Nash Curtis said, who is the best defender you've ever played and why? When I think about best defenders I've ever played, it'd be Brody Merrill, Eric Martin, Kyle Hartzell, Tucker Durkin, Steve DiNapoli, Dominique Alexander.
That's a good list.
Yeah, each of those guys were different. Dominique was such a big athlete that moved really well laterally and had a hard cross check. Steve DiNapoli was a smaller defensive midfielder, call it that way, but was incredibly fast and played like a lockdown cornerback. Tucker Durkin checks harder than anyone I've ever met. Kyle Hartzell had the most trickery. Eric Martin was just probably the best athlete I've played against. And then Brody Merrill is just icon, all-time legend. So the final question, the final question comes from Old Style 2005.
He might have been an OG.
2005 was my freshman year when we went undefeated at Johns Hopkins. What do you see for the future of replay? Love the ability to review game-altering plays, but hate it when it breaks up the flow of the game. So I agree with you on both counts. Love it to get the play right on the field. Hate it when it drags out. The best system is VAR. That is at the World Cup and mostly European football. There's people that are constantly watching the game that are communicating via headset with the referee on the pitch. VAR, we notice, gets tapped into only when the ruling is complicated enough to signal to the referee on the pitch to stop play and come over the monitor and view it. Right now in college lacrosse and even in the NFL or NBA, any time a play needs review, they bring the head official over. What we're going to implement as we get tighter on eligible plays to be reviewed is being able to side from a booth with technicians and our lacrosse product team on site, be able to radio in to an official to reverse a call, or radio into an official to come over and observe and give guidance. So that is the difference between being able to get it right and get it right fast. You like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. We shouldn't end on that though, should we? Oh, this is a great one. Okay, we'll finish this one. And it's actually from Bill T. 2352. So Coach Tierney, thanks for writing us in. Coach Tierney, for many of you know now, is the new head coach for the Philadelphia Water Dogs. All-time legend. 7 national championships, a world championship with Team USA. One of the championship teams was Denver when he took the bet to be a coach, which was bigger than the championships he even won at Princeton Northeast, because he was the first team to win 1,000 miles outside of the East Coast, which was just so transcendent for the game. He is aiming to become the first head coach to have won an NCAA Division I championship and now a PLL championship. No one's ever done it before. No one even did it in MLL. The other person who has an outside chance, just in reverse order, Gary Gate. If he wins at Syracuse, he'll have held the crown now of MLL championship coach for the Chesapeake Bayhawks, or is the Baltimore Bayhawks at the time, Syracuse University. We'll see who gets it first. Okay, so Coach T's question. Growing the game means a lot of new players on team, players without much experience. What is your advice to coaches, like Coach T, who had a great year last year with their A-team guys that now have graduated and new players that aren't delivering like the veterans? So there's a couple things to think about. Participation rates in lacrosse. We established out on the field that it's difficult to get more people to play it because of the technicality, the hand-eye coordination, much like golf, hockey, and baseball versus soccer and basketball. We also talked about the ball, which we need to innovate. So there's some work behind the scenes that needs to be done to cultivate more players, more teams. The other piece has less to do with lacrosse and has more to do with coaching philosophy. You should constantly be developing your team for the future. College coaches do it, pro coaches do it, international coaches with their governing bodies keep an eye on it. That means incorporating the less skilled or the new players into practice such that they can get their game reps, and then at select moments during games, getting them some actual game reps so you're not left barehanded when your seniors graduate and you have guys who haven't gotten reps. So that's more coaching philosophy. I'll leave you guys with this before we move to the giveaway. The number one reason why we started this channel was to engage with the next generation of players that were like me, loving this game, and introduce it to many new people who have never heard of it. And along these 15 years, some most amazing moments that have come are when a player comes and say, hey, I tried lacrosse for the first time because I saw your YouTube channel. It's fucking awesome. So thank you all out there, and let's just do it, shall we?
Let's do it.
This is the 15-year giveaway. It's the Rabil 2 head, 18 karat gold limited edition. But it's not just this. As much as we've talked about learning from our past, I want to incorporate a modern stick and a traditional stick.
No way.
So we're going to send both to one of you out there. And here's how you win. Paying it forward. We have a big spring and summer ahead of us, but let's look no further than Memorial Day weekend, where we have the men's and women's college Final Four. The winner of this and this is going to, in the comments section, say who is going to win the men's and women's national championship. If you get both right, you're going to win. If multiple people get both right, here's how we do the tiebreak. You're going to also add who the runner-up is going to be, and you're also going to add the final score. Very March Madness of us.
Yep.
May Madness now. And the winner gets that.
This is a sick giveaway.
Also, guys, let's not forget, May 7th, my book, The Way of the Champions, coming out. A lot of these questions are answered in greater detail through my personal experiences and lessons from some of the greatest athletes, entrepreneurs, and artists in the world. Would recommend you guys checking that out. There's a pre-sale link in the description. You can go to thewayofthechampion.com. I poured my life into it, so I really hope you guys enjoy it. The last piece I'll leave you with. While we don't have another Ask Paul scheduled in the next few months, what we do have scheduled is a pretty exciting new podcast where it's going to be a similar format. I can't say more than that, other than check out this YouTube channel for an update from the short and my social media. And that's that.
Let's go.
Enjoy, guys. Love you so much. Happy 15.